What's poppin', y'all? This is Deidre with One Shot Game, man. You already know how the motto go. You get one shot at life, but a lifetime to learn all the game you need to help improve your life. The choice is yours on which route you choose to take. Now, as I always say, you get two choices: the ability to faithfully settle in the life that has been set out for you, or the ability to pave a path toward your destiny. That choice is also up to you. So before I get into the title of my video, I want to say a big shout out to all my supporters. You guys are great, and even the ones behind the scenes, I see you too. So look, the title of this video is going to be on the fact that I ran across something that I seen on the internet today, which enlightened me to the fact that Meta is an electronic system that monitors your brainwaves. You know what I'm saying? And basically feeds you the content based on the state of your brainwaves. And it actually honestly makes sense if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of people who basically pay for a blue check on Instagram, right? And their level of engagement is not as high as someone who is not paying for a blue check. So if you think about it, it starts to give you an understanding of the availability of brainwaves. There are people whose brains are on a different level of brain syncing, that they're able to, you know what I'm saying, get the acknowledgement and the likes and the seeing that maybe other people aren't getting. So what happens is there'll be a lot of fuss with people who think that something is wrong with their engagement, simply because their brain waves are monitored to believe that enlightenment and change of brain waves comes from the attraction and availability and the money that you make, when it's a completely different era these days. It's about your energy frequency inside of yourself that, you know what I'm saying, has you receive things that people otherwise would pay for. You get me? And I say that to say, like, again, if you really think about it, look at some of people's profiles who pay for a blue check on their name. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for that admiration. They're looking for that glory. They're looking for that attention. And they think that by paying for a blue check is going to get them that, when it turns out to be the complete opposite. So it leaves you to ask questions, you know what I'm saying, and wonder, like, what is really going on? And I always see an ad on Twitter of, you know what I'm saying, you want better engagement, better this, better that, pay for this. You know what I'm saying? It's basically aligning with people whose brain frequency, I feel like, is still on the level of thinking love, attention, and attraction comes from the more money that you have, the better status that you hold. You know what I'm saying? But once you started to realize that your brain pattern and frequency that you're on is the elevation you rise to, you start to see changes. Like me personally, I went through the experience of always being someone who, you know what I'm saying, like, followed the latest technology as far as phones. So once I started to elevate and change my brain frequency, I started to see the difference in the level of content that I got on my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first it was more so about narcotics, you know what I'm saying, and money, and, you know what I'm saying, violence and all that. But then as I started to raise my frequency, I started to see a different level of content that I wasn't seeing before, which led me to understand and find some actual evidence behind the fact that that is a software technology that is designed to monitor your brain waves to figure out what frequency of content that you are able to receive on your phone. This is also probably the reason why a lot of people might feel like their content is being shadow banned. But if you really think about it, a lot of people's brain frequency is not on that level to be able to receive that information, because they are still stuck at a toxic level. They're gonna only receive that content. That content is gonna be the only content that shows up on their newsfeed. You know what I'm saying? Listen, and again, it comes down to shadow banning too, because you got to think there are people, high level people, that have made money off of people keeping their brain pattern frequency at a certain level. So with you coming in giving awareness to, you know what I'm saying, what has been done behind the scenes is something they don't want being exposed. So you may not get, you know what I'm saying, the viewers like other people get. Like sometimes I be seeing some of the dumbest videos on YouTube that people be so engaged in that absolutely makes absolutely no sense because it's so dumb. You know what I'm saying? And people are actually making money off of this. You know what I'm saying? Just to reincarnate videos they've already seen. You know what I'm saying? And get the level of, you know what I'm saying, attention or likes or admiration for just duplicating something they already seen, which is crazy. But again, y'all got to understand it takes time. When you're someone that's fresh and you're bringing something new, it takes a minute before it gets to a point where, you know what I'm saying, you'll start to get more, you know what I'm saying, attraction, because the brain waves, the brain frequency in a person's mind and how they think has to change and evolve over time. You know what I'm saying? If you're still stuck on toxic, imagine you're still at the same brain frequency as, you know what I'm saying, Bad Girls Club, or, you know what I'm saying, Love and Hip Hop's like toxic throwing drinks on each other type stuff. You feel me? Because your mind is still at that level. And people that know that are acting in that level, and they getting paid to keep people entertained that are still on that brain frequency. But people that are elevating their brain frequency are able to open their minds to different types of content that's relevant to their life and what they're experiencing at the current moment. And that, again, it's just a level up. It takes time. You know what I'm saying? It's an involvement of the mind. And that is something, just for me, speaking from experience, I had to go through slowly but surely. But it took time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something that just happened overnight. The level of understanding that I have makes it like almost uncomfortable to be around low vibrational things or people that talk about low vibrational stuff. Like, that's not entertaining to me. I will completely back out when, you know what I'm saying, it's non-important, non-existent, frivolous conversation about stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? And fake admiration, fake attention, because there are people that are still stuck on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? And are fighting the chance for their brain to evolve, or just possibly, like I said, on different levels. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like not irrelevant to me, non-interesting. Like, there is nothing that I could be able to gain from someone that still gets excitement from being toxic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Still trying to fight and still showing aggressive and dominating, being mean. Like, there is nothing that we would be able to talk about, because that is how you fight your battles, and that's being insensitive to your emotions. When you level up, you start to realize, like, violence and, you know what I'm saying, acting out and lashing out is just the lower vibrational emotional immaturity of yourself that causes you to react to situations like that. And you can't do that when you elevate. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if you haven't noticed, in my past videos, I've talked about how people don't want to, you know what I'm saying, establish certain, you know what I'm saying, grounds of understanding with people who fight their situations like that due to their emotional immaturity. Like, you're not a boss because you show, you feel me, physical dominance. You know what I'm saying? As far as violence, aggressive, and pumping fear into someone. That, to me, is someone who's actually not a boss at all. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to make yourself be known for someone to fear you, when a real boss doesn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, your brain pattern has to shift, enable for you to understand that. And that takes you, you know what I'm saying, going through the step-by-step process. And oftentimes people in life currently in this world are actually the shift of the brain pattern itself. So anytime that you may feel like, you know what I'm saying, you're in an environment where people are completely ignoring you, it's simply because you're the one that's shifting the brain patterns of certain people. You know what I'm saying? And again, a lot of people are terrified simply because they can't wear a mask around you. They want to wear their mask. They're comfortable wearing their mask. You know what I'm saying? Actually standing in their truth and talking to someone that's ready to elevate is just something they're not ready for. And again, it boils down to their brain waves, their brain patterns. So if you really think about it, everybody got a phone. You know what I'm saying? There's so many free phones out there, people with phones. They want everybody to have an electronic device because it's another way for people to track you. You know what I'm saying? To know your location, know where you at, feed into what you looking at, and try to persuade your brain to go one way. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, clear as day, almost probably, I think like 85%, 80% of the population has an iPhone. So if you actually paying for a meta check to be verified on any social media site, thinking that that is what is going to have you receive followers and attention and glorification, you could just post anything you want. I think right now it's the complete opposite of that. Now, in the past, it worked. But I think since now it's changing, that is completely invalid, because it's not about money or status. It's about the authenticity inside of yourself, and elevating the ability to be who you are helps you upgrade your brain pattern to where you receive information on anything in life, on your, you feel me, your phone, what you're into, that elevates and is on the same level as where you're at in your brain pattern. Simple. You know what I'm saying? You got to really analyze and think about it. What are you more interested in? What more grabs your attention? Fighting and, not, you feel me, toxicity, or growing and elevating and actually being yourself? Whatever you gravitate to more is what you're going to be exposed to, because it is scientifically designed to basically align with your brain pattern. And I find that to be 100% true, because a lot of people can't even fathom or understand, like, how come you're on this certain different type of mentality, or, you know what I'm saying, this certain type of level where we're not on yet, and then it's hard for them to kind of like elevate and grow, because they're still stuck there. You know what I'm saying? They're still feeding themselves that same toxicness, you feel me, information or environment or access to certain things that keeps them on that certain level. So you got to automatically think, of course you're going to be a threat to someone that can't process or understand how their brain patterns and activity inside their brain is not shifting enough for them to be able to be receptive to, you know what I'm saying, new insight of understanding that being you is going to attract all the things that maybe you may be attracted to, that's not giving you attention at all. You know what I'm saying? It's just actually keeping you in a low vibration. So you got to really think about how that is really the truth. But think of how a lot of us didn't know that. A lot of us are not aware of that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people really just be glued to their phone, looking at toxic stuff, feeding themselves the brain low vibrational, you feel me, activity, and then going out into the environment and expecting to see that same activity. That's what keeps you at a low vibration. You know what I'm saying? Your brain pattern only shifts and changes once you're exposed to different things. That's how you're able to, you know what I'm saying, get a chance to see the turn, see the door, but might not be yet ready to go through it, but you know it's there. You know what I'm saying? And there's different levels for everybody. You just got to be willing to understand you. Authenticity comes from you, and you being able to understand who you are to get to that level of understanding. So again, I believe truly that you can make social media or your phone be a bad thing, or you can make it be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? For people's brains who are not yet developed, I feel like maybe you can only receive negative content and you're forcing it on them, so you're getting upset by what they're looking at and exposed to. But once they elevate their brain by knowing who they are, the phone can actually be a good resource. I actually learned a lot of what I need to learn, you know what I'm saying, for myself, just by experimenting with my phone. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, there's non-truths and there are truths. It's just all up to you to believe in what you believe to be true or not. You know what I'm saying? So it could be an asset or a liability. It's really dependent on you. But I just don't believe that, you know what I'm saying, they're upgrading phones. We probably ain't standing in lines for the latest ones anymore, because we thought that was made us. The latest phone, having the latest this, the latest that is what gains popularity. But as that changes, it's now about being yourself. You know what I'm saying? Make do with what you got and elevate your frequency inside yourself. That's very important, and first things first. You know what I'm saying? So again, if you don't know what it is, I just told you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.